Looking at the Nationals right now, what are some of the steps that they have to take in order to be competitive, not in 2025, but 2026 and beyond?
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I am your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And of course, look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, and of course, the video version over on YouTube. Again, just search Locked On Nationals. And later on in today's show, we'll finally preview this Tigers and Nats series. Yesterday was postponed. You've got a doubleheader today, 1:05 first pitch. It feels like the weather will hold up, so I think we will get game one in today. In the second segment, let's talk about Paul DeJong being back in the lineup. Nationals had to make a roster move. We'll tell you who got sent down to AAA and also just kind of get into where Paul DeJong fits with the Nationals. Brady House over at third base. So what will happen moving forward? We'll have that discussion for you in that second segment, but let's have a big picture conversation about the Washington Nationals. What kind of steps do they have to take in order to be competitive? I've got a couple of those, but today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. And take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. As we get into today's show, a lot of things are at stake. A lot. The Washington Nationals are not a very good baseball team right now. So, what are some of the steps that the Nationals have to take? In yesterday's show, I told you all about the month of July and really just how big of a month that this is for the Nationals and really the organization as a whole. From on the field to off the field, the MLB draft, trade deadline, everything is going to have to come up and come up big for the Washington Nationals in the month of July. But what are some of the steps that I need to see in order to be able to make sure that the Nationals are competitive? My number one step is I'm going to need commitment from this ownership group. And not just saying it, because we have heard them say that over the years. We have heard them say that we are here, we're not going to be selling, and we're excited about the future for this team. If that is the case, your words only mean so much at this point. I need to see actions. And what are some of the actions that I think we all want to see? Number one, it goes into spending. This offseason, no excuses. You have to go all in this offseason, and you have to be all in. You have to go get that free agent. I don't expect the Nationals to go after Kyle Tucker. I don't think that's going to be the case. But you should be in the category of a star. You should be in the category of giving someone a 9-figure contract, even if that is extending a C.J. Abrams or even a James Wood or maybe even a Brady House if you feel confident in him. Or Mackenzie Gore. Anyone in that conversation, it's fine with me. I just need to see commitment. I need to see commitment from what I saw back in the 2010s, and we all saw from this team. Having a top 10 payroll, spending in free agency, drafting and developing guys. We're not seeing that at this point. And I think with Nationals fans as a whole, Nats fans are fed up. And it starts with the ownership. So that's my number one step in order to get them back into being competitive. My number two step, pretty simple. Prospects like Travis Sakura and whoever we pick at 1-1 this year, and guys like Luke Dickerson and guys like Cade Cavalli maybe, they have to pan out. Harleen Susanna's in this picture also, but still, you understand the point. The Nationals simply do not have those blue chip prospects anymore outside of Travis Sakura. You need to start developing some of these guys. And really in particular with this year's draft, you have the number one overall pick. you have the ability to draft the number one guy in your eyes in this year's draft class. You better hit on him. And this is going to be a big part of this rebuild. And having that number one pick, this draft class, it might not be as strong as years past. And it's probably one of the weakest ones over the last few seasons here. But you still have the ability to draft a blue chip kind of prospect. And the Nationals need that so badly. Because you only have one. And that's Travis Sakura, who was just actually put up in the Futures game, by the way. That'll be exciting to watch when they play in Atlanta later on this summer. But right now, the Nationals and their front office, their sole focus has to be on that draft and that number one pick. Mike Rizzo was on the Sports Junkies this morning, and he said he has narrowed it down to a handful of guys. And I'd probably expect those guys to be Ethan Holiday, who was actually at the Angels-Nationals game in LA this past weekend. I would also expect Cade Anderson, the left-handed pitcher from LSU. And also there have been some rumblings about another prep bat, Eli Willits, and what the Nationals are kind of doing with him. And he would be one of those guys where you take a below slot value deal from. He's a toolsy guy, switch hitting shortstop. He'll probably stay at shortstop for the duration of his career. And he's a mega talented kid. But again, if I'm the Nationals, you have to go with the safest pick in your eyes. And the safest pick in their eyes, if I had to bet, it's probably between Cade Anderson and Ethan Holiday. Those are the two top players in this year's draft class as we sit here today. So we'll see what the Nationals ultimately decide to do. And last but not least, kind of goes with the ownership here, but Spencer Nussbaum of the Washington Post, he wrote a story the other day about the Nationals and not investing in the latest technology, which is Traject Sports Arc technology. For those who may not know what that is, let me explain it to you real quick. It's a simulator where you can face a pitcher with a real baseball that emulates their arsenal, their arm slot, and everything that has to come with facing, let's say, Mackenzie Gore tonight. It gives guys a huge competitive advantage. And right now, 25 of 30 teams, they use that across baseball, and the Nationals are one of the 5 that do not. Mike Rizzo did say today, because again, this was a big story and a lot of people are kind of up in arms about it. And you should be, because again, if the Nationals are not going to be big spenders in free agency, if you're not going to be an analytical organization, well, really, actually, forget that last point. If you're not going to be big spenders, you have to be an analytical organization. You simply have to be. And right now, the Nationals are neither of those. So where are you giving your guys a competitive advantage? Teams like the Colorado Rockies, a bad organization, they have that technology at Coors Field. A team like the White Sox, they have that quality in their organization, and the Nationals simply do not. It costs around $500,000. It's by no means cheap, but it gives your guys an advantage. And in that technology, it is going to help this team take that next step up. And in Spencer's story, he actually talked to Alex Call about this, someone who uses VR basically before every game, and he sees a ton of pitches from guys that he will potentially face that night. And let's say you're going up against Tariq Skubal tonight. And let's say you had this Traject Sports Arc technology. Then, in that case, you'd be able to stand in a batter's box, see Tariq Skubal pitches and exactly from where his arm slot is, and it just gives you a huge competitive advantage being able to see the pitches. You could take 100 pitches out from Tariq Skubal. You could take 50 pitches from Mackenzie Gore and a bullpen guy coming in for the Nationals or whatever it may be. This is huge, and the Nationals do not have that. Now, I will say this, and I'll reiterate it. Mike Rizzo did say that they toured one of those facilities over in this past winter meetings when obviously Traject Sports Arc technology, they had their system set up there in order for GMs and owners to see that. And obviously a lot of these owners, they're like, this is a good quality spend. We're going to go in on it and we're going to finally kind of invest in this. Well, you've seen it. Teams like the Cubs and the Yankees, 2 really good baseball teams right now, they've got that in their building. And it's not a linear thing where you have to have this in order to win in today's game. No, but it does give you that competitive advantage. And in ways, the Nationals, their competitive advantage in years past was, well, we've got superstars and we're going to go out there. We're going to spend in free agency. We're going to give Max Scherzer a lucrative contract. We're going to give Patrick Corbin a massive deal to get us over that hump. The Nats don't have that anymore. This has to be your competitive advantage. And so seeing that the Nationals have not invested in this, it's pretty jarring. I will say, though, they are investing in it now, at least it's the way it seems. And Mike Rizzo said that they will be installing this thing relatively soon. And they finally bit the bullet, and they're getting something that will help their team win. Because I actually saw down in spring training, one of the most interesting things that I saw when I was walking around the clubhouse was James Wood by himself in the clubhouse using VR. And I asked him, I was like, well, what are you doing in there? He says, I'm actually looking at pitches from, I believe they're playing the Cardinals that day. Forgot who was pitching on the bump. And he was just taking his hacks there with his VR technology. That obviously helps. But still, when you're able to actually swing a bat and make contact with a real baseball compared to VR, where you're just kind of sitting there just looking at pitches, obviously that helps you a little bit with the VR. But now you can actually time things up with the real technology, with a real baseball being thrown at you. The Nationals have not had that in years past. And now you're finally starting to get that in the building. Imagine what James Wood and C.J. Abrams and Luis Garcia Jr., the damage that they're going to do now with that technology in building. So, yeah, in order for the Nationals to be competitive, you're going to have competitive advantages just like that with the Traject Sports Art Technology. I thought it was an awesome story from Spencer Nussbaum of the Washington Post. You should read it. Again, check it out. Spencer Nussbaum from the Washington Post. It was an awesome story. And Mike Rizzo was asked about it this morning, and he says that they'll be investing into it. But in order to wrap up this conversation, what do the Nats have to do to be competitive? I need to see the owners be all in. I need these blue chip prospects, Travis Sikora, and your number one overall pick this year, be quick risers to the bigs, number one. But number two, develop them and make sure that they are going to be the stars that we project them to be. And number three, make life easier for your players and get the right technology in this building. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No questions asked. Get it done. And I think they will eventually. So thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's talk about Paul DeJong and where he fits with the Washington Nationals right now. Because again, the Nationals did make a roster move. Do I agree with it? We'll discuss after we tell you about our friends over at Supply House. And yes, get the supplies that you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. And need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it is your turn. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. Now we jump back into it with the Washington Nationals, and they have made a roster move. Paul DeJong has been reinstated after having a really scary injury back earlier on in April when he was hit in the face by a pitch, had surgery there. I believe he broke a cheekbone. It was a really scary injury for Paul DeJong, but luckily he's back. He is healthy, and he's ready to be back in this Nationals lineup. And with that said, they did make an option, obviously, because you got to bring Paul DeJong back up. Someone's got to be sent back down. They sent back down Andres Chaparro, who was 1 for 11 in his time here in DC. I like Andres Chaparro. I've been really interested with what I have seen in years past. This move, I'm not going to lie, it's not a head scratcher. Like, I understand why you bring back Paul DeJong. I think he helps you out defensively. I think he helps you out being a veteran leader. And also, maybe he gets hot over the next few weeks, and maybe the Nationals can ship him off for a team's 29th best prospect. That's kind of the wish, I believe, at this point. And when the Nationals do make some trade deadline moves, you'll probably see Andres Chaparro back in this lineup because Chaparro can hit. And he just did not have many opportunities here because you have Brady House and you have Nathaniel Lowe, who's been hitting the baseball relatively well as of recent. So he just simply did not get the possibilities here up in the bigs. Now, with that in mind, Paul DeJong is back. But where does he fit? Because Paul DeJong was your everyday third baseman. He was the placeholder up until Brady House got up into the majors. We all knew that was going to be the case. But where does he fit now? Because he's not going to be over at third base. You're not going to sit Brady House, at least at this point. If you do, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's not going to happen, though. Paul DeJong might fit over at first base and or DHing. Josh Bell is your DH right now. It's been widely speculated that he would be the guy maybe to be move off of, and maybe Josh Bell gets DFA'd at some point. But it's been very clear from the language of David Martinez that they're not going to be making a move from Josh Bell, at least right now. They value Josh Bell. But at how and at really what cost? Because Paul DeJong, while he's I would probably say a better hitter than Josh Bell at this point in time, it's not by much. Paul DeJong was supposed to come in here and help Nationals defensively, which he did, but also help offensively. And the way that he can help offensively is by hitting for power. Paul DeJong did not hit for power in his first month here. He did not whatsoever. Now, again, it's a small sample size. The first few weeks of a season, you then get hit in the face. Things happen. But also, at what point do the Washington Nationals kind of sit there and say, you know what? We're going to give Paul DeJong every opportunity to hit these next few weeks. Because I can tell you this much, there's not a single team out there that is going to be trading for Josh Bell. If anything, he'll get DFA'd. But I do think Paul DeJong, someone who has struggled in years past, he has been DFA'd also at points. The Nationals, if he gets hot, then maybe you can trade him away for something. If I'm Davey Martinez at this point, I am putting Paul DeJong in my lineup nearly every single day. And it's really easy to sit here and say, well, Paul DeJong should face left-handed pitching and Josh Bell should face right-handed pitching. That's probably what is going to happen moving forward. And maybe you give Brady House a day off once a week to just kind of see where things are at with him. And if he's not hitting the baseball, again, give him that day off. Have Paul DeJong play third base. If you really want Paul DeJong in the lineup, maybe have CJ Abrams take a day off and have Paul DeJong in his role there. You can have Paul DeJong at first base. There are endless possibilities here. But again, the most realistic one is probably him being at that DH position and having him platoon for Josh Bell. And I would have a really quick plug or kind of rug pull for Josh Bell, you could say. I don't want Josh Bell taking all these at-bats. I like Josh Bell. He's good, but it's past him at this point. Great career. It has not worked. And that is very clear at this point in time. So with Josh Bell and right now kind of where I stand on him, he's good. But at what point do the Nationals say, you know what? We're going to take a risk here with Paul DeJong. We're going to put him in this lineup every single day and see what happens. Because, again, Josh Bell is batting sub 200. I don't care kind of where you're at in your career. I don't care if you're just a simple power hitter where you were there to hit home runs, if you're Joey Gallo back in 2021. But if you are batting sub 200, that's a problem. It just is for me. I don't look at batting average all too often and kind of have it tell a story of a baseball player. But right now, again, where Josh Bell is, 11 home runs this season in 72 games, it's solid, I guess. I would probably have expected more this past season. But right now, I'm kind of done with this experiment. And I think this is where Paul DeJong can come and play. And again, he very much so could be on par with where Josh Bell is right now. But I'm willing to explore that. And I'm also willing to acknowledge the fact that he is a much better defender than Josh Bell. So if you were to give guys like Brady House and Abrams and Nathaniel Lowe days off, then you could put Paul DeJong there and have him fill those positions and hopefully do it pretty well. Coming from a former shortstop, having him play any of those positions, I feel pretty good about that. But again, we'll see what the Nationals decide to do. If it was up to me, I know what I would do. I would probably, more than likely, just sit there and, you know what? Play Paul DeJong. Why not? Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's preview today's doubleheader with the Washington Nationals and, of course, the Detroit Tigers. We'll have that preview for you after we tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at Monarch Money. And, of course, you ever wish managing your money felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. And whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. And it's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center that you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one app. And for someone who is young like me, sometimes I don't make the correct decisions financially, but with Monarch Money, it helps me track every little bit I spend. For instance, I realize I've been spending a lot more money on food delivery than what I anticipate. So, you know what? Monarch Money, they help me kind of put things into perspective and said, you're young, start to save that money. And why don't you just go pick up that food, save some money, and also cook in? Monarch Money, it gives you that awareness that I simply did not have. And it's not just for young people, it's for everyone out there. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So today you've got game one of this Tigers National Series, a 105 first pitch. I would think that this game is going to be going on, but in today's game, you've got Trevor Williams starting for the Washington Nationals going up against left-handed pitcher Tyler Holton. Tyler Holton has not been all too impressive this season. Again, he's kind of their opener for the Tigers, so I'd expect him to go 2-3 innings pitched here. But as we were just talking about this last segment, this is a prime opportunity for Paul DeJong to be in that DH role. And I could easily see that happening right now, by the way. I think Paul DeJong would fit really well with the Nationals right now in that DH role. Give Josh Bell a day off. He's not been killing the baseball as of recent. Why not try to go out there and maybe catch lightning in a bottle with Paul DeJong? Going up against a left-handed pitcher, maybe you can kind of work those opportunities because, as we know, Dave Martinez has done that all season long, whether it be Ahmed Rosario filling in for Luis Garcia and vice versa, kind of having that platoon situation. Let's start having that with the DH. So I think you can see Paul DeJong in that lineup for the Nationals today. You've got Trevor Williams on the bum. Coming off some decent starts as of late here, going 5 innings, giving relatively quality starts for being Trevor Williams. I like him. I think he's fine. But going up against this potent Tigers offense, this is a scary one. Like, not going to lie, I'm pretty nervous about this game and really about this series. This is probably a top 2 team in all of baseball today. I expect them to be in the World Series this season. This is kind of like it's not even a sexy pick anymore. They're just too good at this point. But they have really just turned around this team top to bottom since the beginning of 2024. This team and this organization, I need the Nationals to follow what they have done because they have got their Cy Young caliber pitcher with Tariq Skubal. They have got some MVP talent in that building now. And it's impressive. And I need Mike Rizzo and the Lerner family to kind of look at them and say, we need that. We need to do what they have done. So that's just kind of my synopsis, you could say, looking at this Tigers team. But will the Nationals win this series? Because again, while you have Trevor Williams going today, you also have our guy and your guy, Mackenzie Gore, on the bump tonight, going up against Jack Flaherty. This is the time to win. A doubleheader game. Obviously, you have a very tough opponent today. And for the Nationals, if I'm out there and if I'm David Martinez, I am throwing everything out there because, again, you had your losing streak snapped against the Rockies when James Wood hit that walk-off home run. It did not look good at times there, but the Nationals, they ultimately got it done. And now you face one of the best teams in all of baseball. And then you play the Red Sox, who are really slumping here over this weekend for that Independence Day series. And again, these games are not going to be given to the Nationals. The Red Sox are hungry. The Tigers, they've been hungry all season long, and they are a really good team. So it's going to be an interesting series to see what the Nationals can do, but it's going to be about that offense and overall their starting pitching and really also just everything now that I think about it. I'm going to have to watch the bullpen, the Nats offense, and see what Mackenzie Gore can do for the Washington Nationals. But until then, you guys enjoy this series. If you're over at Nationals Park today, enjoy. Try to stay dry and watch those Tigers because, again, I want the Washington Nationals to be the Detroit Tigers moving forward. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.